So wait, you've been out here meeting with a rock?
Yep, I like rocks.
But why are you talking to it?
Because I'm weird.
Meh, makes sense to me.
It looks like a really big finger.
Oh yeah, it's a finger rock.
I've never seen anything like it before. I think it's cool. Plus, it's an index finger. That's my favorite finger. But you guys already know that.
Also, you can pick your nose with it, like this.
One of the joys of the Knacks sample platter format is getting to visit shows that aired long after I stopped watching Nickelodeon. I dipped out in the early 2000s as SpongeBob SquarePants was on the rise, only popping in for Invader Zim every once in a while. I caught up on Avatar: The Last Airbender after the fact and watched a bit of Nick's Ninja Turtles and Power Ranger offerings to see how they stacked up to their respective franchises, but there's still a ton of post-2005 Nickelodeon that I've never given the time of day. But now, thanks to your commissions, I have to watch these shows, and sometimes I discover a new favorite. What I'm saying is that I've fallen in love with Harvey Beaks. Tiny little adventures of anthropomorphic animals and monsters living in Little Bark Grove, a place of fun, community, and secret lore. Harvey Beak reminds me of early Steven Universe, another show I love, with its charming art style and goofy stories of childhood with implications of a larger mythos, only without the building storylines about intergalactic war that make Tumblr-poisoned adults debate how to challenge fascism. Harvey Beaks would have very much have been my jam as a kid. I greatly appreciate it as an adult, so let's talk about an episode. Originally airing on April 5th, 2015, The Finger / The Negatives of Being Positively Charged is the second episode of Harvey Beaks' first season, the third episode produced. Our first segment, The Finger, was written by series creator C.H. Greenblatt, along with Hannah Ayubi, who also worked on Disney's Amphibia and Cartoon Network's The Fungies, and Brandon B., who doesn't appear to have worked on any other show and no, is not the special effects YouTuber of the same name. Animation director was Gary Conrad, an experienced hand for Nickelodeon who directed shows like The Angry Beavers, The Fairly Odd Parents, and Robot and Monster. Little bird boy Harvey and his friends, the imp siblings Fee and Foo, discover a stone finger sticking out of the earth. It is soon revealed that the finger is alive, able to move and communicate through gestures, and seeming to have some level of awareness of the world around it. Harvey wants to understand the finger, whom he names Ira, and is worried that it might be in distress, that it's a larger creature that is buried and helpless. So he and his friends make up a plan to dig the finger up.
Yeah! High fives!
Up top!
Ha! 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 Ha!
Ha! Heh! Ha 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 ha!
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 Ha! Ha!
However, even with all the kids of the Grove helping, there doesn't seem to be any end to this finger. And then a sudden, possibly supernatural wind blows in, destroying what little progress they made. Harvey is distraught, but after a little talking with his mother, he starts to wonder if maybe there's nothing here to fix.
Look, I know it's frustrating to face something you can't quite figure out. Maybe Ira's place in the forest isn't something you or I would want for ourselves, but we aren't Ira. Maybe this is where Ira's supposed to be. Maybe not. But you know, you really did a good thing trying to help him. Some things are just too big for us, and that's okay.
I think there's a lot of rich thematic lenses to see this story through. It's hard to say in a fantasy setting, but Ira the Finger might be a natural part of the world. And while we as young people may see parts of nature as being in distress, it's not necessarily our place to interfere. Take only photographs, leave only footprints. I think many of us have had that experience of seeing a baby bird out of the nest and wanting to save it. The instinct is good, but we really don't know what's going on. Of course, that's case by case. Hey, Dad, turns out parent birds won't abandon baby birds if you touch them. I could have saved that little guy. And then there's the idea of knowing the scope of what you can accomplish, especially as a kid. A lot of times there are problems, injustices that are beyond a child's ability to overcome. It's not that a young person is wrong to see an issue and want to fix it. That's very healthy, in fact. But not being able to help shouldn't be a source of reoccurring anxiety. There will come times in our lives when we have to accept a failure and move on to the next thing. Harvey Beaks has a very gentle way of expressing complicated feelings, oftentimes overlaid on top of each other. Our second segment, The Negatives of Being Positively Charged, was written by Shane Houghton, the co-creator of Big City Greens, Chris Houghton, the co-creator of Big City Greens with a Wikipedia page, and Charlie Gavin, a regular writer on Big City Greens. The animation director was Michelle Bryan, a Nickelodeon regular, especially for the Butch Hartman shows. This segment focuses on Fee and Foo, their strong sibling bond and roughhousing antics. We open on a scene where these two little monsters, a pink-colored sister and an orange-colored brother, fight over a peanut butter sandwich. Hey, wait a minute!
What kind of sandwich is that? Peanut butter and honey?
Bears love honey.
Oh, no, you don't. I'm a bear, too.
Peanut butter sandwich.
It's mine!
No, I saw it first. It's mine.
I smelled it first.
Mine.
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 Fee, Foo, and Harvey discover a couple of lodestones, rocks with magnetic properties. After rubbing up against them, the imp siblings discover they're magnetically charged and repel each other when they get close. At first, this seems like a ton of fun. You can do all sorts of stunts and tricks with this. But not being able to get close to each other also means not being able to share that physical affection that is important to them. The kids start looking for solutions, turning to the biggest expert in magnetism that the Grove has to offer.
The affliction that plagues them is much too powerful for I, a mere gizmologist.
Why are you talking like that?
Younglings, perhaps you've never heard of, steampunk, the sci-fi subculture that perfectly marries Victorian technology and like gears and watches and stuff.
Nothing seems to work, and Fee and Foo are starting to feel hopeless, that maybe this is the end of their time as siblings, and that they'll have to part ways. The episode includes a musical number, What'll I Do?, which is actually an Irving Berlin song from 1923 that the show can rearrange because the song's in the public domain. Thank you, public domain!
When I'm alone with only dreams of you that won't come true, what'll I do? What'll I do? What'll we do?
This is stupid.
Harvey Beaks' composer is the charmingly named Ego Plum, who's had one of those fascinating, all-over-the-place careers. Scoring kids shows like SpongeBob SquarePants, Star vs. the Forces of Evil, and Jellystone, sure, but also scoring no-budget horror movies, composing musical theater shows based on the works of Russian novelist Nikolai Gogol, collaborating with Danny Elfman for an unrealized sequel to Forbidden Zone, and doing the music you hear when you're waiting in line at the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland. On top of the Fee and Foo version of What'll I Do?, the segment opens and closes with an instrumental version that I find absolutely enchanting. The Negatives of Being Positively Charged is perhaps a little more simple thematically than The Finger, but it's a love letter to the bond between siblings written by actual siblings. It's lovely, creative, and fun. Yeah, I can't remember the last time I've fallen in love with a show this quickly. And while I haven't watched even the majority of Harvey Beaks yet, the episodes I have watched after watching this one have been equally delightful. So I can already tell you it's a shame that Harvey Beaks became a victim of the Nicktoons curse, where programs were just too good to live on Nickelodeon and had to be cancelled and have their remaining episodes dumped on the less viewed sister channel of Nicktoons. Frankly, Nickelodeon's treatment of Harvey Beaks is a pretty shameful story, one we may never get to at the rate Knacks is going. But hopefully you have a good idea of the kind of creativity people were hoping to put on the channel, even if Nickelodeon couldn't appreciate it. I'm glad I finally got to watch it for myself, even if it is just a sample.